Hello, I'm back. I know it's been a week. It was a crazy week last week. I was super busy. It's Monday afternoon, and it feels like Monday night. It's been a long day, and it's 2:22, and I'm still have a lot of work to do. So let's try to make this quick. George Michael, "Careless Whispers" playing right now in the background. What a good song. I'll share a memory with you. When I was it was either I think it was the second or third grade, and I was living in Oklahoma City, and I had this friend that lived a couple doors from me, and I remember every day we'd be out playing in the front yard, and his mom would come home from school, or his mom would come home from work, and she would zip into the driveway, and she drove this cool little IROC Z, and she'd zip into the driveway, and she'd be blaring George Michael on the radio. And she would jump out of the car, and if you got in her way, she would knock you over. She would run into the house, and she'd run over. She had a really nice sound system in the house with some big old tall, they were like 4 or 5 foot tall speakers. At the time, they were taller than me. And she would run straight in the house, and she'd turn on more George Michael. And it was just, I don't know, I kind of picked up on it, and I always enjoyed listening to him. Even though he kind of had a little creeper streak to him, but I appreciate good music. So, I'm just slapping this together because I've got more work to do. Let's keep it brief. I just know some of you out there have been maybe waiting to hear from me again. So, ta-da! Here I am. And I've been cheating on YouTube a little bit with TikTok. Man, TikTok is awesome. I just love it. But today I wanted to talk about something just, I guess, brief. And I want to talk about guilt because I'm sure there's some of you out there that kind of get in the same situation I do, where people want to try to really force guilt onto you and make you feel guilty for the things that you do. And I generally have a hard time allowing other people to put guilt onto me. And before we get into that any more detail, I just want to read something to you real quick. What is guilt exactly? Guilt is a normal emotion. Though it can be paralyzing for some people, a person may feel guilty for something he did, something he thinks he did, or something he failed to do. When one causes harm to another, guilt is a natural emotional response. Given how uncomfortable guilt can feel, it can provide a strong motivation to apologize, correct, or make up for a wrong and behave more respectably in the future. And the reason that's on my mind is because I generally have a lot of people that will try to make me feel guilty for something whether it's something I said or something I did, and it's hard for me personally to provide those people with the feedback from when they throw the guilt back onto me, because the hard thing is I don't. How am I trying to say this here? When you try to place guilt upon me to try to force an apology or something to that effect, I have a hard time receiving it. And the reason for that is, and I always say this whenever someone tries to put guilt on me, the reason I have a hard time accepting it is because I have a very strong guilt sense for myself. And really, every hour of every day, there may be something that I said, and maybe I'm Canadian in this aspect, because they say Canadians apologize all the time, and I won't ever, if I say something wrong, I won't ever go back and apologize to that person generally, but I'll have my own internal sense for that apology. And the way I do myself is I tell myself, well, Jason, just don't do it again, or don't do it to the next person. So I have a hard time letting that person know that it's okay and I've received their guilt. Because for me, I receive my own guilt. And I have so much of my own deep-rooted guilt for things that I really don't need that extra pressure put onto me. And I don't even consider, myself to be a really prideful person. I'll admit my wrongs, but I don't need that additional guilt put onto me. Just to give you an example, whenever, I've been doing the fence renovators business for 5 years, and I know when I first started the business and, being self-employed for the first time, There was a lot of, you get that sense of freedom, and you think that you can just create your own schedule and you can go about and do your day however you want to do your day. And I would find myself, I'd wake up at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'd look at the clock and I'd say, oh my goodness, it's 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I haven't even started my day, and I have so much work to do. What am I going to do? And I'd get out to a job at 10:30 or 11, and I'd have this just deep rooted, just deep guilt for sleeping in and not going and getting up and going to manage my business for that day. And that guilt would drive me to work really fast and work at a fast pace, because I've always been manic about doing specific tasks. So that guilt really ate at me every day. And it leads me to think about how much of my life has been on that self-driven guilt train, pushing myself. The guilt is what pushes me. It's what wakes me up every morning. That's why I don't wake up at 8:30, 9 o'clock anymore and do that, is because after a year or two of learning my lesson about maybe being more responsible and getting up and not feeling that just heavy burden of that guilt every single day, and it makes me feel better. And that's why I ask the people around me, don't try to make me feel guilty for something I've said and something I've done. That's the deep-rooted guilt inside me is way deeper than anything that you can push onto me, and it's way deeper than what I'm going to receive from you. I am a self-driven person, and I'm aware of it. If I'm guilty for my actions, I will correct my actions, and I will move forward, and I will be a better person moving forward. But if you're trying to go back and you're trying to bring up past guilts and things like that, I refuse to accept that, because this is one foot in front of the other. Let's move forward. Let's be a better person every single day. And I believe, and I know we do a whole lot of that. That's what Jason believes. But I certainly believe that, dwelling on the past and trying to relive guilt is not going to get anyone anywhere. So I think, I do a lot of thinking. I think you should like this video. Share it with someone. Maybe share it with someone that you've been really working hard towards trying to get that person to feel some of their own guilt. And maybe if you've got someone that you are out there trying to always constantly make them feel guilty for something, maybe this video will help them understand that if you have that own self-driven guilt, then you don't have to worry about what all those other people are saying to you, all of those outside noises. You need to be responsible for yourself and the whole accountability thing. And I think we'd all be better people for doing that. So I need to work on getting some good content to you guys, and we're going to push it hard this week. More videos to come.